Wendy Sharpe, thank you for having us in here.
A pleasure, thanks for coming.
Tell us about why you've done this project.
Well, this is an exhibition of 39 portraits of asylum seekers. They're all either living legally in the community waiting for their applications for residency to be processed, or they're people who just got protection and are now starting to rebuild their lives. And there's a few of people who went through this process years ago and are now making a big contribution to their community. But the reason why I wanted to do this was because we're hearing about asylum seekers all the time, and a question that a lot of people would be asking, which is quite a reasonable one, is who are they, why are they here? And we never see them. So this is actually a chance to get an idea of a bit of a cross-section of who they are.
And in regard to that, with each of these subjects, each of these people, you spend 2 to 3 hours drawing them from life.
Yep.
How in 2 to 3 hours do you not only get their image, but get their character, get to know their character?
Well, that's true. In 2 to 3 hours, obviously you can't really know someone. But you do get a bit of a sense of something, watching expressions across their face and so on. Yes, it's not all of what someone is, but it is certainly so much more than just a quick meeting or looking at a photograph, because you're actually interacting with them. And most of them could speak good English, so we could have a proper conversation. And the things we were chatting about were things that they like. Their hobbies, like I like cooking, I like dancing, or over there I love football, or whatever it is, but just little things about them and what they're hoping for the future. And that tends to animate people and let out a bit more who they actually are.
So you talk more about the future, their aspirations, rather than their past?
Yes, I mean, I was working with the Asylum Seeker Centre in Newtown, and there are people there who of course know all about, in great detail, often the horrific background that they've fled from, for all sorts of reasons, political, cultural, religious, all sorts of reasons. And with some of them I do know the stories, but with others I don't really know, and how can I? I mean, I can't imagine. But I can see these people who are here and are really delighted to be somewhere where they feel safe, and they hope to come and live here and work here. They understood what I was trying to do, which was to try and tell us something about them. So they chose what they wanted to wear, and they had input obviously into how they wanted to be depicted, which is really important.
Shall we have a look at a couple of these faces, a couple of these characters?
Yeah. Let's have a look.
So here we have Antoinette. What's her story?
Well, Antoinette, it's a horrible story, and with a good happy ending. So it's actually quite a nice story of a very beautiful woman, as you can see. And I don't just mean an attractive person. A lot of her family had been killed. She thought she'd lost her sons. She told her story in conjunction with the asylum seeker centres, and that was put on YouTube. And by incredible chance, a French aid worker saw this, I think in Paris, I'm not sure, but in France, saw it and said, I think I know where her children are, and they're still alive. Got in touch with them, with her and with them, put them back in touch, and so she's refound her children. She's living in Sydney, and her life has totally changed, although, there's no way you could forget what's happened.
Well, from Antoinette, originally from Africa, to Alexei.
Alexei, yes, from the Middle East. And Alexei was one of the, I don't know if he was not the first, but he was one of the first people I drew. And he brought in a selection of clothes to wear.
Right.
And I was really delighted that he brought in incredibly loud jacket and incredibly loud tie. And he's absolutely hilarious. He's very, very funny. He's a delight.
You mentioned, and you say from the outset, you didn't want this to be about politics. How do you avoid the politics, given this is such a contentious issue at the moment? How do you keep the focus on humanity?
Well, I think the important thing is to try to talk about people and not to try and be drawn on that. I'm not an expert on anything political, I don't know. I mean, people, statistics and so on and so on. I think that when you see these people and you read a little, some of them you can hear a lot, you can read a lot about why they came here, and others you can just read a little because it's unsafe for them to say too much. But you get a bit of an idea, a little bit of an idea, what a terrible thing they were fleeing from. And you also get an idea who they are as a person. If you come and you have a look at this, or you look at some of these pictures online, it debunks a whole lot of myths about these people being someone else, because who they are is us. It's everybody, it's anybody. All these people realise what it was about too, so it's about them. It's about them. So I haven't done razzmatazzy art things and distorted it. I haven't drawn anything in the background. It's a picture of them, and they've chosen what they want to wear and so on and so on. And the fact that we've also, and there's these text panels which are about them, they realise that they're actually being treated as themselves rather than as a statistic or someone who is just an asylum seeker. It's actually them as a person. And that's actually made them feel quite a lot better, which is, you know, I have to say I didn't even really think of that, but it actually did.